Super Mario 64 Randomizer is exactly what you think it is. Take the original game, take all the objects, and shuffle everything randomly around. The randomizers have gained a lot of popularity over the recent years. They are fun for both casual and speedrunners alike, as they require logical thinking, provide unique ways of gameplay, and most importantly, add tons of replayability to your favorite games. Since randomizers are very popular with classic fan favorites of Nintendo titles like the Zelda series, it is not hard to imagine that one of the most iconic Nintendo games, Super Mario 64, also got into the randomizer hype. What started in 2019 as a little ROM hack is now a fully fledged randomizer with customizable rules, speedrun categories, and most importantly, lots of fun. Now, you know, I am known for my blindfolded speedruns of Super Mario 64. Over the years, I've gathered an absurd amount of information regarding this game, especially after routing 120 star and the 1 billion backups that it required. I know close to every little corner, how to get from A to B in every given room, and honestly, I feel like a lot of this knowledge is wasted in everyday's life, because where would it ever again be important to know that punching this wall, backflipping into a slide, then backflipping 2 more times and then hitting camera C right aligns you with the pyramid entrance? Well, fast forward to early 2024. The popular speedrunning marathon Summer Games Done Quick opens its submissions, and I was of course thinking of submitting some good old blindfolded speedruns. I submitted my butter and bread blindfolded 16 star, as well as one of the greatest achievements in blindfolded gaming, the blindfolded 1 star category. I even submitted a blindfolded Dark Souls speedrun as an extra challenge. But then, one day before the submissions closed, I had a brilliant idea: playing a randomizer blindfolded. Now, I know that sounds like absolute insanity, but hear me out. On the day that I had the idea, I saw some YouTube video about someone solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded, and the approach made me very interested, as it was vastly different from what you see in regular blindfolded speedruns. In blindfolded cubing, you are presented with a random pattern on the cube, similar to a random seed in a randomizer, but look at this. The timer actually starts not from being blindfolded like in speedruns, but the learning and the memorization of the cube also is included in the speedrun time. That made me think, can I create a similar approach for the blindfolded speedrunning community? My idea went along these lines. We generate a random seed, start the timer, learn, route, and memorize the seed, then blindfold ourselves and beat the game. Since there are so many possible customizations to the run, I created some easy rules that we could follow as a community. 1. Everything is random: stars, stage entrances, coins, and so on. 2. Mario's standing position is always in the vanilla location and not randomized. This way we can actually use existing blindfolded strategies to navigate each world. 3. Whenever Mario enters a painting, it will be a random stage, but when Mario dies in that stage, he will be put back in front of the randomized painting, not in the new one like it is known in normal SM64 randomizers. This allows much easier memorization than needing to make weird routes from stage to stage. 4. There are a few Joker stars that are not 100% randomized. These are stars that only spawn after finishing some kind of quest, like killing a boss or spawning the star after a slide. This way we can consider the slide in Cool Cool Mountain, the fast completion of Peach Secret Slide, and the bully boss fight in Snowman's Land as kind of free, as they are basically equal to the vanilla counterpart. It is still not 100% guaranteed because signs or other objects can be in your way, but it makes for a nice reward when exploring more stages. 5. We play with a half non-stop setting, meaning that grabbing a star will not throw us out of the stage, but it will rather still do the collection animation and ask us to save the game. 6. The final Bowser door is locked behind 10 stars. After we are able to open it, we can play through the final Bowser stage, which is the only way that is not randomized in terms of entrances. The objects inside that stage are still randomized though. I chose to start with 10 stars as the requirement, as it averages in around 40 minutes with an okay seed, and I didn't want to make the category much longer than that. Now, with this basic rule set, I just jumped right into my first run attempt to prove that this category is actually doable and fun to run as well. Without much of a plan yet, I just started jumping into stages. The first one I entered was Whomp's Fortress. Whomp seems like a pretty good stage, considering that it's rather small and has many open stars. I instantly started routing some stars, theorizing setups, and eventually, after 5 minutes of routing, I established a basic route of the stage that I wanted to take during the blindfolded segment. I then quickly found 2 stars in Bob-omb Battlefield, and then got the first really bad stages. The wing cap entrance led me to the vanilla wing cap stage, which huge. Well, I'm not doing that, man. Imagine the hardest star in the game for Blindfolded with randomized coin positions. Then I enter Cool Mountain and again, probably one of the worst stages in the run, Dire Docks. There is no way I'm going to route randomized star positions underwater without being able to see. Next up was Peach Secret Slide Entry and, well, even worse than Dire Docks, as it was the secret aquarium with 8 red randomized coins. Then I entered Big Boo's Haunt, which is also not a great stage as it is pretty huge and it's hard to see potential stars quickly. I checked around a bit and then quickly decided to exit the stage as well. Slowly, I got the feeling that this run will be more luck dependent than initially thought. The next stage I entered was Snowman's Land though, and as if it was a sign, I was greeted with amazing RNG. 2 stars right in front of me. After that, I needed 2 more stars, and I quickly found them. One was in a box in Wet Dry World, and one in the Red Coin Room in Hazy Maze Cave. Just to be sure, I kept going through and routed a few more backup stars in Rainbow Ride, as I thought it would probably be easy to misremember some information, and then it would look really stupid if you end up with like 9 stars at the final Bowser door at the end. After around 17 minutes, I put the blindfold on and start collecting all the stars I have just routed. Right. No, perfect. Was it a backflip even? Yes, perfect. Okay, I remembered. Clean. Was there another one? Wait, was there another one? Maybe the box hindered me. Yes, okay, perfect. 2 long jumps. Perfect. And then wait for the camera. And then just jump upright. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yes, okay. Clean! Where was the star here? Was it a box? No, it's an open star. Yes! I think that's it, dude. Eventually, after 30 minutes, I grabbed the final 10th star. I struggled a lot with memory, but thanks to the backup stars that I have routed, I could still finish up the run. I went up to the final Bowser stage and noticed the first of many big hurdles that stood in my way with this challenge. What the fuck was the red coin sound there? Confused the hell out of me. Dude, what? Am I crazy? The music is not aligned with the vanilla ROM. The music starts playing earlier than in the original game. The Randomizer mod actually has different timing in the beginning of the music than the original game. This effectively renders a whole lot of my blindfolded setups useless. It means that every single stage that requires some kind of input right after entering, or any kind of music cue, does not work in this hack. This is, well, pretty bad news because I need to reroute a whole bunch of things now. I even contacted the creator of the hack about it, but it turns out it is just the lag that happens when all the objects are randomized in the map, so there is nothing to do about it. Anyways, luckily I know this game pretty well and was able to just improvise the entirety of Sky in my attempt. I even managed to figure out this random box that suddenly got placed in the middle of my way. What? What? Wait. What? Then I nailed standing left side, the elevator skip, and then even hit a first try Bowser throw, which led to the world's first blindfolded SM64 randomizer completion in only 36 minutes and 52 seconds. It was definitely a really fun category with lots of unique movement, strategies, and especially lots of fun for the viewers too, as there is so much randomness and tons of improvisation from my side. I figured it would make a great showcase, so on the last day of the SGDQ submissions, I just threw this run in there with an estimate of like 40 minutes because, well, if my first run was a 36-minute run, then it surely can only go smoother from here, right? And fast forward a few months, it got accepted. I was through the roof as it would be my second in-person Games Done Quick event where I would travel to the US for my blindfolded speedruns. But it also meant that I now really needed to step up my game with the randomizer. And that's what I did in the following weeks. But to my great surprise, it did not go well. Oh no, it did not go well at all. Turns out, a 36-minute time is actually pretty damn good. For the next month, I tried to get the run going under estimate, and I simply could not. It was so much harder than I initially thought to get good RNG with the star and stage spawns. Looking back, I was especially lucky that the first stage I entered in my PB was Worm's Fortress. If you find Worm's Fortress during your run, you automatically save 5 to 10 minutes of time easily. There are 4 open stars in Worms, plus a boss fight where only the boss location is randomized. And since the stage is so small, you can route and grab 5 stars in around 5 minutes, which, well, is half of the speedrun requirement. If you on average only get 1 star in a decent stage, plus castle movement and so on, you can imagine why finding Worms is such a huge time save. Well, long story short, I got a bit nervous as I for like an entire month could not finish a single run under estimate, and I would need to perform this run in front of hundreds of thousands of people in just a few weeks. That is why, besides practicing a ton, I sat down and actually created new strategies that help and speed up the routing process immensely. There were 3 main things I improved within my next following runs. The first thing I changed is how I approach the entire visual scouting and routing process. Instead of just entering random stages and instantly routing whichever star I feel like, I now created a fixed order of stage entrances so that I can both optimize my castle movement and also make memorizing everything much easier. For example, I created a template with numbered stars that I can quickly fill out in hand and paper format, as well as the order of stages. This way, I effectively have a tracker for the stars, can scout all the stages, and then only need to memorize very small sequences, like Bob on Battlefield leads to Worms, and there is a star at the tree. The fixed stage order also makes memorization much easier, because I can easily remember that Bob on Battlefield was the first stage I entered, so I can just instantly go to the first stage when blindfolded if there was some kind of star that I need. Writing all these short infos down in real time with pen and paper also helps my brain process and memorize the information much quicker. I also created a tier list of stages that I would prefer to see, and also what I have to do in each of these stages to very quickly scout them out in only a few seconds. Having a fixed plan for each stage increases the scouting speed incredibly. For example, if I enter Dire Docks, I instantly quit out, because there is nothing for me to easily grab. If I enter HMC, I peek into the right hallway, then go through the boulder room while looking for stars, and end in the red coin room. That searches most of the locations of the stage in a very short amount of time. There are also key stages like Worms, which are just so good that I instantly route all the stars, because there is no way I want to miss them. The other key stage is Tick-Tock Clock, as it has many open stars, but the high verticality of the stage makes it quite a bit more tricky than Worms. This is also the reason for the second big change. It is the fact that I mostly split the routing part from the scouting part of the run. I figured out that it is much faster if I just first run through some of the stages as fast as I can and make a little list of all the stars that I see until I have around 10 possible stars that I could create a route with. Because what if I start routing 9 stars instantly, then enter a final stage for the 10th one and it is Worms? Then I would suddenly have memorized 14 stars, which is way too much. So long story short, I first scout, then route, then play blindfolded. You might ask, if Worms is so great, why do you not just search it every single run? And that's a really good question, and it would be beneficial, but mathematically it unfortunately just does not add up. There are a total of 24 courses in Super Mario 64, 15 main courses, 3 secret stages, 3 cap stages, and 3 Bowser stages. So in the randomizer, the final Bowser stage is not randomized. So let us consider a total of 23 courses here. Out of these 23 stages, Fire Sea is completely closed off, as the Dire Docks painting is still in front. The Vanish Cap stage takes way too long to open with draining the water and all, and similarly difficult as entering the Metal Cap stage, as that would require a really tricky parkour through HMC first. That is already 3 stages where Worms could become 100% inaccessible in a given seed. And remember, I am creating all these routes for the best possible no reset setting in a marathon run, so I simply cannot rely on the fact that Worms will not be in one of those. Furthermore, all the stages in the lobby and the basement only take around 20 seconds to enter. Same goes for Wet Dry World, Snowman's Land and Tiny Huge Island, with those last 2 already being rather close to 30 seconds. That means that even if I would just want to check into Tall Tall Mountain, Tick-Tock Clock, this Cloud stage or Rainbow Ride, it would take 40 to 50 seconds for a single check on average. I would lose multiple minutes checking these stages while still perhaps not finding Worms. So the plan I have come up with is to simply scout as many many stages as I can in the fixed order that I have routed out, and only if I get a really bad seed, I will continue searching for more stages in, for example, Tippy. That should give me the best average results. The third major change was a completely new beginning of the run. Before I actually do anything in the run, I run up straight to Bowser 3 in order to check the randomness in Bowser in the Sky. Because during my practice runs, it turned out that it is quite likely that a given seed is literally or at least close to impossible for me to finish. I was multiple times on PB pace into Sky, but since I have visually only routed stars and not looked into Bowser in the Sky, I never knew where the enemies are placed or where fire splitters are hiding. The three biggest problems are the Chuckia, the Thwomp and the Big Box. Each of those can simply spawn right in the middle of my path and make a run impossible to finish. Since this is obviously a no-go for a marathon run, I decided I will spend the first minute of the run checking out Bowser in the Sky, then exit out if everything is okay, or simply quickly reset the entire seed if it looks impossible. With all of that in mind, I set out one day to do some speedruns again. The first run of the day started out great. I got decent luck and even found Womps in the third stage I checked. It was actually an incredibly lucky seed. In total, the routing only took 12 minutes and it included 5 stars in Womps, 3 stars in TikTok Clock, and 2 in Peach Secret Slide. You could definitely feel how my new routing process helped with the speed here. I put my blindfold on and start with Peach Secret Slide. The box is located in a bit of an awkward spot, so I have some trouble finding it. The fast slide completion also has its problems, as the delayed beginning of the music that I have talked about earlier affects my strategy here immensely. I have routed a new way of doing it with the delay, but it still is much harder and apparently still requires much more practice. I died for multiple minutes, until I decided that I will just grab a backup star instead, as I have also found Cool Cool Mountain during the routing and can grab the free Joker star there. I made my way to TikTok Clock, grabbed 1 star after this pole here, and then 1 close to the moving bars vanilla star. From here, I wanted to combo into 1 more star that lies on the path to the upper floor, but unfortunately I long jumped too far and fell all the way down, which lost me quite some time. After a quick reclimb though, this star was mine as well. I then quickly grabbed the free star in Cool Cool Mountain by finishing the slide, and finally proceeded to Womps, where I grabbed all 5 stars in less than 6 minutes. I went too far. 6. Okay, perfect. Dude, why are you punching the wall? And that works. I had to improvise there a tiny bit, my setup didn't work. This is not good. Okay, never mind. Gaming. Okay, now just RNG star grab. It should be a bit behind me. Okay, perfect. I proceeded to Bowser 3, where I managed to climb all the way to the standing left side trick. And I missed it. But what happens after has to be one of the craziest backups in the history of blindfolded gaming. I was on! I was on? Wait, what? What are these backups, dude? After a quick Bowser 3 fight, it was time to collect the final big star. And boom! First run of the day with my new strats and already a new world record in 33 minutes. After a whole month of practice, things finally started to pay off. I was happy, but not done yet, so I simply started a second run right afterwards. And the first stage I enter is yet again Womps. Probably used up all my luck for the entire year, but hey, I take it. I routed everything in Womps within 5 minutes, then found Cool Cool Mountain with the Joker star, and then the seeds started to fall apart a bit. Besides Peach Secret Slide with 2 stars, there was not a single star I could grab anymore in the entire lobby area. I checked the Wet-Dry World entrance, nothing. I checked Dia Docks, nothing. I checked Shifting Sandland, nothing. Leaf Lava Land, nothing. The seed started out so good, but then unfortunately lost tons of time due to bad stage RNG. It went from a god seed to a pretty mid seed rather quickly. I only needed 2 more stars at this point, but I simply couldn't find a single stage that has anything. Then I entered Hazy Maze Cave and finally found a good one. Tick-tock clock. I quickly routed 2 stars there and finished my visual segment in only 13 minutes, even with all the bad stage RNG. Once again, it just shows that the new approach of first only scouting stages is a really good choice. At minute 14 I put on the blindfold and start gaming. It should be here. Huh? It should be here. 100%. Wait. Okay, I was very close. Oh, I don't remember the camera. I think this is it though. Clean worms, dude. Very clean worms. Clean. It wasn't bits. It wasn't. The Bowser stage. I thought. CCM is in here. My brain mixed it up. Star number 8. I miss the pole like every time. Star number 9. Clean. Oh my god, the star collection was really clean. 22 minutes and 30 seconds for grabbing all 10 stars while blindfolded. That is less than a minute per star on average, which is pretty impressive. All the practice and precise routing of the past weeks has paid off. Since a good endgame only takes around 2 to 3 minutes, I was on huge PB pace with this run. I enter Bowser in the sky. What? Was too far down right, I guess. Damn it. Got unlucky with the elevator. What? Oh my god, this bits is cursed. I didn't check that route, the long route, so I don't know what exactly is pushing me there. Dude, there is so many things that want to kill me. I have no idea what's going on there. I'm very low on 1-ups now, which is not so good. Unfortunately, I was not thorough enough with checking the enemy placements in Sky, and the enemies in the beginning absolutely destroyed me. I died a total of 4 times before I managed to get into the final pipe at 28 minutes. Still on PB pace, but it definitely could still have been much faster. I throw Bowser one final time, and... it's so free. It is so free, dude. I've casually hit the last 5 Bowser throws first try with the new strat. Hey, sub 30! A sub 30 Blindfolded Super Mario 64 randomizer completion. Over the past month, I have improved so incredibly much in this category, and now I am 100% confident in showcasing it on stage for Summer Games Done Quick as well. Even though I often got lucky with worms, I also got lots of runs under estimate that had much worse seeds than this one here. And this personal best is not even that great by any means. In an ideal run, I think I could easily get a 20 to 25 minute time. Though I have to say, since the entire run is basically luck dependent, I don't know if I'm motivated enough, and honestly I don't know if I even care enough to get a much better time than this. If it happens, great. If not, I will hopefully perform a great showcase for charity soon, and then I will be happy with this category for a while. If you want to see more Blindfolded challenge runs like this one, make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave me some suggestions in the comments. Huge shoutouts as always to all of my patrons, especially King Roops, Bob Farrell, Benlitz, Boris and Zeke's Many. As a little reward for sticking through the video, here is yet again a picture of Mokka, my cozy little cat. Thank you very much for watching and see you around. Bye bye.